Hey everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of the Scratch a Track podcast presented by the Dude Room Show and co-produced by IBAST. I am the Dude.
And I'm Grim. And today we are going to discuss the debut self-titled album by the supergroup Audioslave.
We most certainly are. And man, you know, that's a term that kind of gets thrown around a lot, you know, supergroup, I think. Mm-hmm. But I think you probably could make the case that this is a supergroup.
Absolutely, because, dude, Rage Against the Machine, let's see, by 2002, they had put out 3 awesome albums.
Really good albums.
Well, and Soundgarden. I think they may have also put out their all covers album, too, Renegades of Funk, by that point.
Okay.
But yeah, and then, you know... people have probably had heard of Soundgarden, but dude, you know, and this was not the only supergroup Chris Cornell was a part of, dude. He was in Temple of the Dog.
Temple of the Dog. Exactly.
Bro.
So,
yeah.
And for all you supergroup fans out there, we're toying with the idea of doing a supergroup episode where we discuss, you know, the best supergroups out there. Mm-hmm. So that could be coming down the pipeline. So, if that's something you might be interested, I think now it would be a great time for you to go ahead and like, subscribe, and comment below. Please do. And if you can't watch us on YouTube, I would highly recommend checking us out on your favorite podcasting platform because chances are we're on it. Scratch a Track.
Dude, just download as many episodes as you can so we can get some sponsors. That's really what we're going for here. And if you are a sponsor, like, money would be great. I mean, you could pay us in beer or food too, but all these things would be helpful.
Yeah, please tune in so we can tune out. All right. So the deal with Audioslave is, I mean, it kind of goes back, I think, to Rage Against the Machine. I mean, Rage and Soundgarden, you know, Zach De La Rocha kind of left Rage from my understanding. And I think Chris Cornell had one solo album. I don't know the status of Soundgarden and where they were at that point. I think they were maybe on hiatus. I don't know if they officially broke up.
Yeah.
And your boy, Rick Rubin, said, you know, you guys should really, really just think about getting together.
Now, like, here's how cool is that? Interesting. Here's what when in reading about that, what I found interesting is that, he suggested to the remaining members of Rage Against the Machine that they should do this, right? Apparently, he played the band members this Soundgarden song called Slaves and Bulldozers to showcase his ability. Now, here's my problem with that. Had you seriously not heard of this dude? Were they really there's a band called Soundgarden? Like, come on.
Well, the way I would sort of take it is I'm sure they were looking for someone that they think would fit with them. And not to say that Chris wouldn't, but I think he probably showed them that song and said, hey, you know, there's this song. I think.
Okay,
I think
so
it encapsulates you guys together, right?
Yeah, okay.
I think that's probably it a little more. But I know what you're saying. When I first heard that, I was like, yeah, dude, Soundgarden had been around for a while, and I'm sure they had probably toured with them
before Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I don't think it was a fact of being, who is this Cornell guy? Yeah.
I know.
Ever heard of him?
When I read that, I just really kind of chuckled. I was like, boy, man, they were just really into what they were doing for a decade plus, I guess.
They were. Well, dude, and it sounds like they really hit the ground running. It looks like they had rehearsed. They did like a 19-day rehearsal, and they came up. They wrote like 21 songs or something.
Yeah,
that's pretty great. And I guess Rubin was the producer. Now I don't know if that was the actual recording sessions that were from this album.
I don't think so, because I read about it, it sounded like it kind of like that was what got it started, and then they were going to go, I don't know if it was on tour or they were going to play their first show, and they almost broke up because of like all this management, like Cornell's management and Rage. And then I guess eventually they fired them both and then did something as one. Yeah.
Managers.
Isn't that stupid? Like, to think that these idiots that really don't have any artistic ability, like they could have compromised a group from.
Yeah. That's crazy. I mean, dude, when we get a manager, we'll probably get one together. Right?
Yeah.
It's not going to be like you have yours and then I have mine, and you know.
Yeah. Because I mean, definitely. that's just paying somebody to do what we could do, which is just talk to each other.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, they had those rehearsal sessions, and then they were going to play shows. But like you said, the band kind of sort of broke up before they actually even played a show. But they I think they came together and had about 13 songs. And I guess those were leaked out. Like, that seemed to be just such a common occurrence back in the day. But I guess they weren't finished songs. I think they were kind of trading them and exchanging them, back and forth. Even Tom Morello said, like, yeah, they were just kind of rough sketches. He was like, final guitar parts and solos and stuff weren't put in. Lyrics weren't even finished.
Because were those the ones that got leaked? Because a bunch of them got leaked beforehand. I think the whole album or something got leaked beforehand, and it was pretty far from finish, I guess.
Yeah, I think it was basically, like a studio session. It was like they had the studio sessions, and I think they said like some intern or something like that, And I think for them and a band like that, with these types of musicians who are just, pretty renowned at that point, kind of like we talked about with Tame Impala when his stuff got leaked, right? It was like, he was like, I wasn't really pissed that it got leaked. He was like, yeah, it sucked that it got leaked. He was like, it was more frustrating that it got leaked and it wasn't like the final product and, the way I would want everyone to hear it. So, I mean, that's the thing that sucks.
Now, one thing I will say is, I think it's interesting because one thing that Rage Against the Machine was noted for, and I think took a certain amount of pride in, was that every sound you hear on their album was made from a guitar, bass, drums, or human voice. They didn't use any synthesizers, no keys, no, like that just, and of course Morello's noted for having a really unique style where he can kind of he does a lot of things with the guitar that you just wouldn't think to do.
Yeah. And
it kind of became a thing. Now, one thing I would like to ask you is, I know a lot of times when people would throw around the term like supergroup, there is typically an argument, the argument is basically like, is this its own thing or is it merely the sum of parts?
Right.
So how do you feel about that? With Audioslave?
I mean, I definitely think it's its own thing. There are songs on here that are neither Soundgarden nor Rage Against the Machine. I mean, every musician has their style, right?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, and you're still going to carry that on probably in whatever you do. But I just think that it definitely is its own thing. And you got a little friend behind you, and wow.
Yeah.
What's up, Luce? Anyways, yeah, it definitely is its own thing. I to be honest with you, I think I like Audioslave more than I like Rage, and I like Audioslave more than I like Soundgarden. I really do. Because
do not share that sentiment, but I'm sure
a lot of people don't.
Yeah, interesting.
But I find myself listening to Audioslave now a lot more than I listen to either of those two bands. Maybe I shouldn't say I like that better, but I listen to it more now. It's kind of like, I think we had this conversation a while back when we were doing the Stones Exile on Main Street. We were talking about the Stones and the Beatles. I listen to the Stones more than I listen to the Beatles now. Does that mean that I like the Stones better than the Beatles? I don't think so. Mean. So I think that's probably where it kind of fits in for me.
That's interesting. Now, see, I having listened to this, a bunch of times, because I hadn't in some time.
Sure.
I found that when I was done with it, I was like, man, I want to listen to Rage Against the Machine now.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Like,
oh, yeah.
For sure. More than you wanted to listen to Soundgarden.
At that point, yes. And not to say that I probably do like Rage Against the Machine more. But it's just because musically I hear so much of that influence in there. But how could you not? It's the whole backbone of the band minus the vocalists,
Right. So I think and again, don't kill me. I'm not talking down on Rage, but it is, to me, I have to be in a certain mood to listen to Rage. Whereas with Audioslave or Soundgarden, I don't have to be in quite as a, I guess, selective mood of like, you know,
Okay.
I just don't. I just feel like I can listen to this more often and just kind of have it on. Because, you know, I think I had heard some songs and stuff when it came out, and I was like, yeah, you know, this is good. This is all right. I think, what did it come out in 2002? And I think the idea of Supergroup back then was just kind of like, oh, okay, what's going on? What is this? You know, is this like a gimmick? Is this a gimmick? Yeah, is it that kind of thing? But then I had a resurgence with it about 5 years ago. I was watching the movie Collateral with Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx. Michael Mann directed it. And one of the songs, I think it's Shadow of the Sun, is in that movie. And I didn't recognize it from this album. And I was like, man, I really like that song. I know this is Chris Cornell. I know this isn't Soundgarden. It's got to be Audioslave.
Oh,
and so
sure.
So I tracked that song down, and I was like, man, this song's good. All right. And then I had a resurgence with this album, and then I started going to the gym more and everything. And this is like a great workout, like gym album and everything. So it was just like every day it was like, boom, this is what I was putting on and putting on and putting on. And I just, to me, I think maybe part of the reason it takes, I think, the parts that I really love of Rage and the parts that I really do love of Soundgarden, and it does kind of put them together, and maybe that's why I can listen to it more than either of those bands right now.
No, that's fair. Now, isn't Collateral the movie that has Spanish Key in it from Bitches Brew?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
yes.
dude, I love that they put that in a movie, because
it's so great.
I listen to that song probably every day, multiple times for a good year and a half.
Dude, phenomenal song. Yeah. Well, and then we had also known, and I believe it's the first, I don't know if we want to get into the tracks. Do you want to get into the tracks now?
Well, there's a couple other...
one thing. Yeah, you're right. There's
two
one thing.
things.
But you go.
Okay. So first I want to talk about the cover art.
Yes.
Dude,
boy.
It looks like they're on the surface of the moon, and there's like this giant flame, but it looks like it's made out of metal. So who did it, my man?
Storm Thorgerson.
Yep.
Who also, for most people who know out there, did a lot of work with a little band called Pink Floyd, designed many of the most iconic albums, but most notably Dark Side of the Moon, Wish You Were Here, and Animals.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty cool. Yeah. The late, great Storm Thorgerson.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to say. And dude, so apparently though, there was going to be like an alternate cover where the guy standing in front of it was going to be naked. And then for some reason they decided not to. Now, here's the thing. I actually think it would have been kind of cool if he was naked, because that would have made it a little more primal. And it would have been, to me, almost like man discovering flame for the first time.
Yeah, I know.
You know, I think that would have been kind of cool. But anyways, he's got clothes on.
So my last bit before we get into it
Fun
is
fact.
about the name.
Okay. Yes.
I was never that into the name of the band. Just typically the word slave doesn't conjure up the most positive of vibes, but apparently I was not the only one who was not overly impressed by the name of the band. Okay. And a lot of people who I actually like, one of them, Chuck Klosterman, the writer, and he writes for Spin Magazine. He cited it as one of the dumbest band names in recent rock history. And Pitchfork came out and they said that they regarded it as one of the worst names in contemporary music, or even all time. That's harsh. I don't think it's that bad, but it is not. I don't think it's not my favorite band name.
Dude, I mean, we could do an episode on just stupid band names because there are some just awful ones out there. I mean, I guess it doesn't bother me now. I don't know. I'm just used to it. It just doesn't bother me because I actually don't think it's that bad. I don't know. I just never really thought about it like that. And there's just so many that are so much worse.
There are some pretty bad ones, but I just, it was never my favorite name, but it was funny. When I read that stuff, I was kind of like, man,
Wow.
There were some people who were like very opposed to it. Not just that it wasn't there.
Yeah. Well, all right.
So
on that note, get into the tracks, Mr. Grimm. All right.
Yes.
Well, the first one in Grimm, do you know how to say this?
I think it's Cochise.
Cochise?
Yeah.
Well, so we had known about this song from our boy music video director, Mark Romanic. He did the video for this. Mm-hmm. So on our DVD, it's something we had seen many times. And dude, I think the video for it, I think it's really cool. I think it's very unique. And once I watched it again this time, I was like, oh man, that's kind of cool how it's got like, you know, the band members in the truck and they're driving up to this big construction grid. Yeah. And then Chris Cornell's on top. And it's kind of cool because it's almost like their story. Like the supergroup is kind of meeting and coming together. And we're going to be on top of this huge construction, I don't know, scaffolding. And then all of a sudden the song's like building up and then it explodes and all these fireworks just go crazy. And that's what they use to light the band and light the video. So you have all these like great silhouettes and you recognize the people because, you know, Tom Morello always got his hat on and everything. And I mean, Chris Cornell is pretty recognizable the way he looks. And dude, it's just, I always thought it was kind of a cool video. And just, you know, I'd never seen a video sort of like that before. Sure. It was pretty cool.
I like this. I think the song's a really great opener too. And I really have always been a fan of the lyric of, go on and save yourself and take it out on me. I like that.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it is. It's really good. And it was funny because even in the video though, and in the making of it, they talk about how they got like thousands of calls from local residents because they were shooting off fireworks basically like all night for 2 nights straight. And people thought it was literally a terrorist attack.
Yeah. So I read that. That is.
If you haven't seen the video, like definitely check it
out.
Or
if you were there, I would like.
Yeah, definitely. Like, what did it sound like? Yeah. All right, so I think we can move on to the second track, and that is
Show Me How to Live.
How to Live.
Might be my favorite one on the album.
Ooh,
really like this one. Yeah, I think it's a really good song.
Something in particular that stands out?
I just like the riff and the way the song kind of builds. And a radio show that I used to listen to, Free Beer and Hot Wings show before they got rid of Zane. Big mistake on that one, by the way. They used to use this as like their opening kind of music bed a lot. Like we have our music beds, which we have to use music from bands that I was in because there's no copyright royalty.
Exactly. Exactly.
But I always remember that riff and when he does it in the beginning, that was like the part they used. So
I gotcha. That's cool. Well, this is the one I was talking about, Grimm. This video actually got banned from MTV. They wouldn't play it. So they took clips from this movie, 1971 movie called Vanishing Point. And basically in the movie, it's this like 1970 Dodge Challenger. And it's kind of being driven by somebody from Denver to San Francisco. And there's like these car chases with police and other people. And eventually at the end, they put up this sort of roadblock with bulldozers and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So he the guy can't go any farther. Now, throughout the video, they're showing clips from the movie, but then they also splice in clips of the band like driving down the highway in a Dodge Challenger like that. Cool. So and they do it cool, but then like right at the end, it drives right into the bulldozers and just explodes. And for some,
that almost seems like it would have been a better video for the next song, which is Gasoline. Like burn that gasoline. Dude. You know what I mean?
Dude, yeah. And so moving on to that one, dude, Gasoline. These first set of songs. Now we'll talk maybe a little bit more about. I think the
first 4 really, because Like a Stone has a distinct change in
different feel. It does. But they really hit hard, don't they? Mm-hmm. And Gasoline's just kind of got that. It's got attitude to it, like some swagger, man. Yeah. And it's, I just feel like, I think for me, I felt like if there was a song that sort of embodied, I mean, gosh, you could say it about a lot of songs. But a song that really embodied the meddling of Rage and then Chris's voice. It just has that that thumping, the thumping Rage sound, and then of course Tom's crazy guitar shit that he does.
Yeah.
But Chris's voice is real clean, and I don't know, man. Gasoline's a really good song. Moving on.
What You Are.
Now, this is one of my favorite songs on the album.
I agree with that. It's definitely about some sort of a toxic relationship and releasing oneself from that. So
absolutely, and dude,
people could really relate to.
Definitely. I mean, except me, but no, I'm just kidding. But no, I will say, it's very liberating in that sense. But this song has got probably some of my favorite lyrics of all time, like in a song. He's like, when you ask for light, I set myself on fire.
Yeah. Nice Rage Against the Machine reference too to their first album cover.
Boom. And if I go far away, I know you'll find another slave. But the line I really like, he's like, and when you wanted blood, I cut my veins. Yeah. And when you wanted love, I bled myself again. Like, dude, that's just some good words, man. Yeah. Like I really dig it. Now we move on to Like a Stone. And this is I think the first lead single from it. Yeah. And probably the song most people would know from the album.
It was the second single, but yeah. Okay.
What was the first one? Cochise. Yeah. Okay. It was. Yeah, that makes sense. The video for it is a very. Once I started thinking about it a little more, it is kind of like your typical band playing in a house or whatever. But the cool thing that they kind of talk about, and I guess once I learned a little more what the song was about, it kind of made sense. It was because it's in this big, empty, old, kind of decrepit house. Mm-hmm. And the song itself, I guess, basically is about like an old man essentially waiting for death. Yeah. And he's sitting in the house, all alone because all his family and friends and everybody else has passed on. He's sort of just kind of like waiting to be reunited in his afterlife. And the video is sort of symbolic of that. And, and after,
do you think it would have been a nice touch if in that video they put on makeup to make themselves look really old?
No, I don't.
Oh, like Biff and Back to the Future 2, dude. I don't know. I would have done that. I think it's awesome.
That would have been too awesome. I mean, dude, here's the thing. If people are making fun of the name, then that would have been people have been like, "Whoa, what's going on here?" I think
maybe they would have said, "I think they have a good sense of humor."
I think that would have been out of character. They take themselves way too seriously for something like that, I think.
Well, if I had been asked to be in the band, I think we would have went that route. Anyways, now, one thing I do want to say about Like a Stone.
Yes.
Every time I hear this song, I think that this could have been a Red Hot Chili Peppers song.
Really?
Think about their sound as you went to like Californication and beyond. Sure. The way the guitar, like everything about the way the song is structured, written, sang, you could easily throw Kiedis on those. Like to me, it is just like a Red Hot Chili Peppers song. I don't know why, but I hear that all the time.
I mean, Rick Rubin did produce both of them, so I think he produced Californication, I imagine.
Yeah. And dude, I will say real quick because we didn't get to it, but yeah, with Rubin being the producer, some people even criticized his production of the album, which I think is pretty ill-informed. I think the album sounds really good, and
like what it sounds strong. It sounds clean. It's in your face. Maybe is it too clean? I don't know.
No, it isn't. I think it's really good, and
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, dude. Rubin is someone that like I don't know, dude.
Yeah, don't mess with it.
It takes a lot of stones to go ahead and like knock that guy's work, in my opinion.
Criticizing Scorsese or Kubrick or something like that. It's like, just don't. Yeah. Just don't. All right, set it off, Grim. Set it off. Mother Teresa.
I feel like
set it off.
This one is it sounds to me like it's almost like about like a religious or like a cult leader.
Yeah,
it's like they talk about like the gathering
children. Yeah,
and dude, and set it off like, dude, the best kind of one is a suicide cult. Clearly, Jonestown being the winner just based on the sheer numbers.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Good old Jonestown.
Yeah.
Are we gonna do a Brian Jonestown massacre? I think we probably should at one point.
Oh, dude, yeah. Actually, I picked up on vinyl not too long ago.
Yeah.
Give It Back. No, not Give It Back. I don't know. There were
One
two right in that era. Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah, I do like Give It Back a lot too, though.
Sure. All right. So, Shadow of the Sun. Now, this is the song I referred to earlier. That's in Collateral. And dude, I don't know if you. It's been a while since you've seen it, or you have seen it. I think you have, because you talked about Spanish Key. But dude, the scene where this happens is sort of like kind of an introspective scene in the movie where a bunch of stuff's happened and they're just like everybody. It kind of calms down and takes a breath in the middle, kind of right before it's gonna get intense.
Oh
again.
yeah.
And they're having this conversation back and forth, and Tom Cruise is like, man, yeah, you should go. If you get out of this alive, you should call that girl. The U.S. like the attorney, and they're just having kind of like this moment, and then they get to a stoplight, and there's these foxes that come across and like walk across the street in the middle of Los Angeles, and then this song kind of comes in and. I don't know. I just always liked that scene in that moment. And then this song came out. I was like, I need to figure out who that is. And I think I have that to thank me to like get me back into this album. So I like this song for that reason. Also just because I like the song. So that's that. It's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Okay.
All right. Want me to take us into the next one? You
am the highway. I am the highway.
Damn.
So, was this the fourth single, I believe? And this is a popular song. I feel like it's been used in things which I cannot cite at the moment. But
and if it hasn't, it should be.
Yeah. Now, this is interesting because it is truly the song that if you were to make an argument that it is not the sum of parts, this would be a good song to cite because it does not sound anything like Rage, and it really doesn't sound much like Soundgarden either.
Yeah.
I think it's the only one that Chris Cornell even plays guitar on it. I think it's the only one, which is weird because I feel like he should have played guitar like for some of the other stuff too.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've seen a bunch of live videos from them. I know. So the live video for this that I've seen a bunch of times is really cool. Like he starts off, it's just him playing acoustic, and he goes through the first couple of verses by himself, and then about halfway through, the band takes a break. They're like, "Hey, Chris, you go on stage and start playing this song." They take the little break, and then they all come back on, and they all finish the song with them and kind of jam out and everything. It's cool. Pretty cool. Yeah, no, and. It is definitely there are a few songs on this album that I would consider sort of outliers, and I really like this song. It is one of my favorites on the album, but
but it is truly an outlier.
I think what you could say is it's probably more of because Chris Cornell had I think he did a solo album before this, and he was starting to work on his second solo album, and then he decided to put that down before. They came together with this song. So I imagine it was probably a song he brought to the band, and then they just said, okay, cool. Well, let's put some stuff around it. And, they did.
This one, I feel like could be a country song. In fact, it would not surprise me, and I haven't looked this up. I kind of wanted to. When Johnny Cash recorded American Music, I could easily see him doing an excellent cover of this song.
Totally. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I don't think he has, but I'd like to hear it.
It would have been such a perfect one in my opinion, but
right. All right, moving on. Track number 9, Exploder. I think again a good contrast where we have like I Am the Highway, the song the album's been very strong up to that point. And then finally you chill it out a bit with that, but then Exploder kind of comes back up again, right? And you got to bring it back.
Now, I don't know if this is a theme because around this time, there was an incident with the Ford Explorer where in these the tires that were on it. And if you turned too hard, the tires would actually explode, and people nicknamed the car the Exploder.
Dude, I remember hearing about that. Talk about your all-time recall. Wow.
Dude.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, dude, there's one line or set of lyrics I really like in this song. He's like, if you're free, you'll never see the walls. Yeah. I just think that's, if your head is clear, you'll never free fall. I just think for some reason I always like those. It's almost like, if you're free, you'll never see the walls. It's like, you're free, but it's almost like you're blinded by that a little bit. You don't see how you're really being caged. So
red pill or the blue pill, bro.
That's right. Hypnotize. Now, my first question to you. Do you prefer Audioslave's Hypnotize or the way? Oh, you're gonna ask.
Son of a biscuit! Yeah, I was gonna ask you that, dude. Oh man,
White Stripes easily because that's one of the best White Stripes songs.
Absolutely agree. It's got to be the White Stripes.
If you haven't listened to that song,
you did that, and this would have made songs in the same name, but thanks for listening, which nobody did for not to those ones. So
but
what here we are.
You should go back and listen to our
every episode pretty much.
Our episode on the White Stripes greatest hits, because we discussed the songs that didn't make it, and I don't believe Hypnotize did. And then also we did our Elephant. We did our episode on Elephant. So if you like this, hopefully you'll like that. I mean, why wouldn't you?
And if you like that, you can also subscribe.
Subscribe, and comment below. So anyways, Hypnotize. I don't know. I think it's the way he sings it is sort of funny. He's got this real deep voice, and if you want, it is
almost
kind of
like that kind of like stereotypical '90s kind of,
Definitely, yeah. Which I mean,
maybe based on the time this came out, maybe that was actually a mock on Scott Stapp from Creed, because he was the worst at that voice.
It was not good.
I don't think Creed's going to cut. Just, spoiler alert. I really don't see them making the schedule for a scratch. And if they did, it would probably be like, which one would you keep?
All of them. Yeah.
Reverse scratch a track. I think we might need to do an episode of reverse scratch a track. One of our
fans, I don't know if it was Carolyn or someone, suggested we do that. I'm like, that's actually, it was like reverse scratch. Yeah.
All right, we'll try it.
Yeah. It was like, if one of your tracks did get scratched, like which one would you take back? I was like, ooh, that's tough.
Oh, yeah.
So dude, the song Bring 'Em Back Alive. So the one thing that I think is really funny, Tom Morello has this crazy wild solo.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, he's known for his, guitar sounds and everything. This one to me was, and every time I hear it, I literally laugh, because I feel like it's almost someone trying to imitate or make fun of him a little bit. Like it's like, and I'm not trying to be a jerk. It's just kind of silly. It's like those movies, like Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood. It's like a spoof, right?
That's funny.
Like, when I listen to the solo, every time I hear it, I'm just like, this is just so kind of outlandish that I almost can't take it seriously. And I feel bad for saying that, because I really respect Tom Morello as a, guitarist and an artist. But it's just like I'm listening to it, I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah. What's going on here?
What's going on here?
Now, with that said, a lot of people must be doing things, because my internet is really fast right now. But I have brought up before Tom Morello. Oh, bummer. They don't have it. There's this, there's these series of videos that are really funny. And it's like, you can see one called, I think I talked about when we talked about the Mars Volta, but it's called the Mars Volta Shreds.
Oh, yeah.
And then they have one where it's like slash shreds, and they take video footage, and the guy is he's actually a good guitarist, because he's doing things that make logistical sense with what's going on in the video. It's like if Slash is playing high notes and he's playing high notes, but instead of it being this really amazing epic guitar solo, he just plays complete garbage over the solo. It's really funny because when you watch the video, it's like incredible. And I was hoping they had one for Tom Morello shreds, but they don't.
Damn it.
But the Mars Volta one is amazing.
I bet that's pretty sweet.
It's the whole band. And it's ridiculous because you know how crazy some of their stuff is.
Oh, they are. Oh,
and wild. His vocals for Cedric are unreal. Anyways,
they got to be amazing. Yeah,
dude.
All right. Well, Graham, light my way, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Delaware.
Yeah, I'm in Delaware. No, I think that to me this, I don't want to say a lull, but it's I don't feel like the little bit at the end of the album kind of hits quite as hard. You know what I mean?
So I'm glad you brought that up because I was thinking about that, and maybe we can discuss that now or after we've gone through the tracks. But I feel like, this is Scratch a Track, so we just pick one. I feel like there's some songs on this album that, man, just really are strong songs and really stand out. And so if there's some that maybe aren't quite as strong, let's say they're not good, not as strong, I'm just like, man, maybe they could have done this album in 11 or 12 songs instead of 14. Yeah. And I feel like at it's so front heavy. I feel like at this point in the album, I'm kind of like, I'm almost exhausted from like hearing it. Right. And so
absolutely.
So with this song, I mean, I do like the way he sings, Won't You Light My Way? I really do. I love the way he sings that part. But yeah, I mean, it's it does have good energy and everything. But I think at this point, it's like they could have made a really just tight, amazing album. Right.
Yeah, so. I agree. And that's one thing. I mean, is if I were to offer anything, it does kind of slow down a little bit, I feel like near the end. And
I will say my favorite songs of the album are on the first 2/3 of it, I think.
Yeah, sure. I agree.
That's what it is. And so I think that kind of goes into, the next song, Getaway Car, and even the last song, Last Remaining Light. They're also slower, right? And so you're ready to kind of chill out and sort of fade out a little bit. With the song, like, I think Getaway Car, to me, I wasn't really sure it kind of really fit the album. It does slow it down, but it doesn't feel like Rage at all. And it doesn't really feel like, I don't know, it doesn't feel like, it feels like maybe it's one that Chris kind of brought to the table as, hey, this is a song that I have, a single song, and they kind of worked around it. But I certainly don't like it as much as I Am the Highway either. Yeah. Which I think was probably constructed maybe in a similar manner. So that's how I feel about those songs. I mean, even with Last Remaining Light, I feel like it has it fits the band's personality a little more. It has this dark weirdness to it, even though it's a slower song. There's a little bit more of some dark weirdness to it. So that's kind of, I know we kind of group those songs together, but that's kind of how I feel about both of them. So
yeah.
All right, Graham, we got to scratch this one and get on our way before people start unsubscribing.
Yeah, or you're late to get back to work.
That.
I want you to go off the tee on this one. This was this album was one that you picked, and I think therefore you should be on the tee, my man.
All right, cool. Well, I'm going to go with one of the ones I just recently talked about, and that's Getaway Car. I just feel like it doesn't fit the album as much. And I think Last Remaining Light is a good way to probably end the album. You could make the case that you could end it with either Getaway Car or Last Remaining Light, just because they're kind of slower, more subdued songs. But I think Last Remaining Light fits them in the band a little better, just because it's a little weirder, and I feel like it fits their personality. So I'd go with Getaway Car. What do you got? Oh man, get the WTIF button here.
I might. I Am the Highway.
Oh, dude, how can you do it?
Are you giving it to me?
Oh yeah, drop that hard. That's one of the best songs in the album. No way.
I know, and it is a good song. I just don't think it should have been theirs. And I know that sounds super ignorant to say that. And like, who am I to? Of course, but this whole show is opinion based. Let's be honest here. I don't know. I actually want to hear if the Highwaymen would have actually played I Am the Highway. I think it would have been perfect. And do you know who the Highwaymen are?
I think I might, but why don't you refresh my recollection and everyone else is out there?
Well, my friend, the Highwaymen are also a supergroup.
Super.
Yeah. And that supergroup consisted of Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings, Chris Christopherson, and Willie Nelson, the Highwaymen. Wow. And I think if the Highwaymen would have played it, to me, it just should. But anyways, I know that's
like the reason you're scratching it. Like you're like, no, I'm going to scratch that, but I'm going to keep Getaway Car and The Last Remaining Light.
Dude, I hear you on Getaway Car. I really do. It's just like, for some reason, I Am the Highway just is like too kind of epic for them, for me, for them.
For you.
But I accept the WTF ITS. Yeah. I was pretty sure that was coming. But and the reason I say that is because when I listen to it, dude, even though those other ones aren't my favorite song by any means, I find myself skipping this one the most.
Wow. Okay.
And I shouldn't, because it's, it's one thing if an album goes through and it's like everything's kind of different. It just continues to change. But I feel like this is such a outlier.
It is a departure.
And there isn't that much else that is, other than Like a Stone, which is a Red Hot Chili Peppers cover.
It is most certainly not. All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up, friends. Let us know, 1, your favorite track, 2, tell Grim how crazy he is, and 3, what song would you scratch?
I accept.
I bet it ain't I Am the Highway. All right.
Somebody's got to be with me. Come on. Somebody.
No, never.
Yuri? Dude, come on.
Yuri? Come on, buddy. All right, folks. That wraps it up. We got another one coming out next week. Subscribe below.
Oh, man. Throwing one at the end. The dude.
Well, you don't even have to. Show.
Scratch a Track is produced by the Dude and Grim. Additional music provided by Moore and the Tims. Copyright 2021. The Dude and Grim Show.